All right, welcome back here on Breakfast with Bridget. You know, we talk about wellness a lot, and that includes your mental wellness, your financial wellness. We go over a lot of things. And so this morning, it's the holiday stress that really comes up because we're at December 18th. And so this time next week, you know, if you didn't get it done, it's coming in after Christmas. So this morning we have Shantala Boss from Boss Wellness to talk to us about the money stress and all that comes in right now. Good morning, Shantala. How are you?
Good morning, Bridget. I'm well.
When we think about the holidays, it's a time to get together. It's a time to really enjoy one another. The gift giving, of course, is about the thought behind it, but it gets expensive.
It really does. I really love your conversations with Candice and Michelle this morning and kind of the theme about how important it is that we really focus on the reason behind the season and not so much the consumerism. It's nice to get presents and gifts, but if we don't get everything in time, if we don't have the means or the money to buy exactly what we think we need, we can make it, we can create it, we can make memories. I think it's so important to be reminded of that during this time because it is
Mm-hmm.
such an expensive time right now. I read a recent study by the American Psychological Association
Mm-hmm.
just citing that about 72% of Americans are saying that they feel a direct correlation with their mental health
Mm-hmm.
and financial stress. So it definitely is a strong stressor for a lot of Americans, especially during the holidays.
And you know, yesterday we had the Salvation Army Angel Tree distribution where they finally gave out those gifts to those thousands of people who had applied, and you know they had hardships to getting gifts right now, and so many families are facing that where you just have to know that we're not going to be able to do a lot of presents and things like that because we have other priorities. And so, how do you have conversations around that? Because not everyone's able to do maybe an angel tree or toys for tots, receiving things like that. So, what are the conversations to help deal with maybe being sad about it, whether you're an adult or a child?
Well, perspective is everything. We all have, nobody will ever have everything they want. There's that concept of the hedonic treadmill. The more you run on the treadmill, the more you want, the more you get, the more you want. It's just never ending.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we can keep in perspective what we do have, what we are able to give, things are more valuable when there's thought behind them, when maybe sometimes when we give a lot of presents and a lot of things, everything just gets caught up in the rush and we forget what we even got. I have kids I see that don't even remember half their presents. So if we can make them meaningful and spend that quality time, even creating things for each other, building
Mm-hmm.
those memories and kind of stepping a little bit away from comparisons. Why do we feel like we need all these things? What is that? Who
Mm-hmm.
are we trying to impress? I think that a lot of times these days with influencers on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, we're
Mm-hmm.
constantly seeing things we think we need or we think we want. Once we get them, we realize they're really not something that mattered to us and we
Mm-hmm.
were fine before. So practicing that gratitude and really changing our perspective. And I was reading a little bit about how important it is if you have an influencer that you're following and you're
Mm-hmm.
starting to feel anxious or envious or like low
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem, bad about yourself, just unfollow them. There are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
influencers that are very encouraging about your mental health and
Mm-hmm.
doing good things to protect that.
You make a good point with that because now there are so many people monetizing their use of social media, and so sometimes it's almost like watching nonstop commercials, right? And so, what are some of the tips you
Mhm.
give people who maybe are struggling with spending and maybe compulsive shopping or emotional shopping? Sometimes we feel like we need a treat maybe to feel better.
hmm Well, recognizing it is number one, and trying to find out what void are you trying to fill? What does emotional shopping do for you? Because if we take away a behavior, we need to replace it with something else.
Mm-hmm.
So figuring out what that's doing for us emotionally and how we can replace that behavior effectively, and then limiting our time on the internet. Online shopping, I think, is the worst culprit because we're constantly getting pop-ups or
Mm-hmm.
this quick sale, you get $100 off, but then you have to spend 500.
Yeah.
And it's it's a psychological minefield, really. So trying to limit that and practicing gratitude with what we have, and do buy those things and those purchases, but putting a little bit more thought into them, and not getting caught up as much into all of
Mm-hmm.
this. It's kind of almost scamming in some ways, the way these companies
Mm-hmm.
do it. I've bought things and I thought, oh, this is as cheap as it gets. This is an
Yeah.
amazing deal. A week later, it's even less expensive and it's not even listed as a sale. So it's
Yep.
like, was
Yep.
this even worth it? It's crazy how that works,
Mm-hmm. All right.
but
Well,
it's very easy to get caught up in that.
it really is. We appreciate your
Yeah.
insight this morning. Where can we go to sort of get more information on these topics?
My website is bosswellnessllc.com, and I have a YouTube channel where I list all of my interviews if you would like to look at any of those. So,
All right. Well, thank you so much, Shantala. Good to see you. Happy holidays.
thank you. Happy holidays, Bridget.
Take care.
Bye.